Hey guys, if you have been following me for years, you will know that I have been on and off trying to learn how to handstand for years. It's something that I've always wanted to be able to do, and as someone who's relatively strong, it's always something that I felt like I should be able to do, but I've just never been able to even come close to mastering. Over the last few years, I've tried on and off, but I never stuck with regularly practicing, and I never fully committed to really mastering the skill of it. And so every time I would try, it would just look pretty atrocious for a bit, and then I would give up and move on with my life. I don't really remember what specifically inspired me to embark on this 30 days of handstands journey. I think I was just probably scrolling through Instagram and I saw someone doing a handstand and I was like, I'm gonna do it this time. But throwing in handstand practice has also been a great way for me to incorporate more physical activity with a lower level of intensity and a much higher level of enjoyment and excitement, because it's something that every day I'm super excited to get out there and practice, because every day I could feel myself getting better and better. And since I've been on this recent hormone balancing journey, cortisol balancing journey, I knew that having something like that in my routine would be really beneficial. So a month ago, I decided to dedicate myself to practicing the skill of handstands every day for 30 days to see if by the end of the 30 days, I can nail a handstand. I am so stoked to be starting this. For some reason last night I just went down the rabbit hole of handstand exercises and stuff. I don't know what exactly got me so motivated or so excited about this, but today is the perfect day to start because it's August 1st, so I figured today I should at the very least show you where I'm at with my handstand so you have an idea of what I'm working with. Not very much, I'll tell you that. So I'm pretty sure I have the upper body strength to be able to do a handstand really well and hold it forever. I think I might be lacking a little bit in core endurance because I do have a strong core, but I can do 10 reps of a heavy exercise. I don't do a lot of 1 minute planks or any ab exercises for endurance. So I might be lacking there a little bit, but I think my biggest thing is honestly just getting over the fear of being upside down. I remember a couple years ago when I started trying to practice handstands, I think really for the first time, I had a bad fall. I just fell on my back and it knocked the wind out of me. And I think that's just still in my brain and I'm still trying to get over that. Okay, I just watched some of that footage back. You can tell that I can kick up, but I'm not I am too scared to kick all the way up into straight up and down, and so I'm just not holding the handstand because I'm not getting into the handstand. So basically this is gonna be 30 days of Marissa gets over her fear. Let's do this. Gonna go through some of the exercises that I have scheduled for today, do a few more handstand attempts, and then we'll be done for the day. My face is so red already from being upside down. I honestly don't even know what I'm supposed to be trying to do with that exercise. I saw someone doing it. It made sense when I was thinking about it, but all I feel is pressure on the top of my head. Did you see that? I held it for 5 seconds. It's already working. I'm so proud of myself. So this next drill is the chest to wall drill as opposed to the back to wall. This is terrifying to me because it involves being straight up and down. Legitimately, very uncomfortable doing that. So, wow, this is bright. The last thing on my list, sorry, was to practice the actual handstand, but my head is not used to being upside down for so long. And it kind of hurts. So I kind of feel like I should stop here. So the night before, I created this whole handstand workout plan. I spent hours just watching handstand tutorial videos, handstand exercise videos, and then using my own knowledge of the human body as a personal trainer to devise a specific plan to strengthen my handstand. It was complete with warm-ups, exercises, drills, stretches, you name it, everything that I thought would contribute to giving me the strongest and best handstand. I was gonna share that with you guys in this video. I think I might have to do a separate video on that though, so comment down below if you want me to share like my whole handstand workout program, but you'll see why in a little bit, why I'm not really incorporating it into this video. One of the drills that I was practicing was what I'm calling an L hold, because your legs are in the shape of an L, and I was trying to do it off of my table, but I was terrified to do it on the concrete because I was like, if I fall, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna snap my neck and I'm gonna die. So it was revolutionary for me to move the table over to the grass so that I felt a lot more comfortable and didn't feel like I was gonna die when I was upside down. Then I actually had like a breakthrough by day 2. I held a like 2.5 second handstand, which doesn't look super impressive. It honestly wasn't super impressive, but for me, that was like the best I had literally ever done in my life, so I was very excited. Well, it happened. I got my first handstand injury. My knee's bleeding. Oh no. I was doing lateral wall walks and the wall is textured, and when I was dismounting from the wall, my knee hit the wall.
I'm fine.
Today's practice did not go as well as yesterday. I couldn't even like get myself to kick up to the balance point, so I didn't even come close to holding anything remotely resembling a handstand. But I think that's because I'm honestly kind of sore today. Like my forearms are definitely sore, my back and shoulders are kind of sore, and I think I just don't have the strength right now to even hold a handstand if I were to get into a handstand. I've been out there trying to kick up into a handstand for like the last 15 minutes and it's just not happening, and I think I just need to stop for the day so that I can be not sore tomorrow. This is where I should have listened to my body, stepped back, taken like 1 to 2 days off, because I was already sore. Like my wrists, my forearms, there was pain, but I was just so excited to keep practicing and I just let myself keep practicing. I know I said this is my favorite part of the day, and it is fun, but it's hard work. I saw it. It was at this point that I basically stopped following that whole handstand workout program that I had put hours into creating, because it was taking way too much time, and by the time I got to the actual like handstand drills, my body was just too fatigued to feel like I could confidently practice for like 15 minutes. This is why I don't want to share specifically that routine with you guys, because I had to abandon ship on it. However, I have like modified it some to make it potentially like a feasible, viable plan. So that is what I would share in a separate video if you want that. And as a note, it was around day 5, I think, that my head finally stopped like pounding by the end of my handstand practice. So it took about that long for my body to adapt to that, and since then my head has been completely fine for like as long as I've wanted to be upside down. As long as I don't spend like consecutive 30-second intervals upside down, I'm good. But the soreness was not getting any better. It was getting slightly worse every single day, and eventually it started kind of compromising my ability to use good form, because every time I would kind of like try to flip up, I was hesitant because I knew it was gonna be painful. So again, I really should have just taken a day or 2 off near the beginning to let my body adapt and adjust and heal before pushing through. Ernie's over here cheering me on. I'm feeling a lot more confident in my hands today, and I feel like I have better consistency, so that's something. All right, we're on day 9, and I told myself I was gonna take a break today because honestly, I think my wrists need a break, and I think my shoulders and my arms just need a break, but I felt so close yesterday that I couldn't resist at least practicing a few times today, and I just tried like on my first try, and I got up and I held a handstand for like 6 seconds. My legs weren't together, but like that's beside the point, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not gonna do it too long, just want to give a few attempts so that I keep the muscle memory going. See? I'm getting it. I need to practice because I'm so close.
or not.
I should probably stop, but I'm making such good progress. Even though I still haven't held a handstand as long as I did on day 4 when I got like 6 seconds, I'm finding that balance point a lot more frequently. So a couple days ago, I decided to focus more on finding the balance rather than finding the balance with my feet together. And I think that's really helping me progress and get to the point where I feel comfortable kicking up to like the balance point. I think when I was trying to kick up, find the balance point and keep my feet together, I kept either not kicking hard enough or over rotating because of the momentum of my back foot that was coming up. And so now that I'm kind of like letting myself get up and then slowly trying to put my legs together, I think I'm getting the hang of it a little bit better. I took yesterday off. I think I need to take another day off. Yeah, I really needed to take more days off as I went through this. If you're out there trying this at home, I recommend starting off with like 2 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, until your body kind of adapts and adjusts to it, and then you can start practicing every single day. It was around this time that I watched a video from some other handstand god, and he basically said, try not to practice for more than 15 minutes in a row, because after about 15 minutes, your body starts to fatigue more, and so you can't really train with proper form because you're just too fatigued to hold that form. And I was like, should have thought about that at the beginning. I didn't, but he was totally right. Like anytime I did really well with a handstand practice, it was in the first 10 to 15 minutes. It was never after I had started to get more fatigued and just like kept trying because I had one good handstand at the beginning. I was like, I want to get another one. Wasn't gonna work that way. So I ended up taking the last 3 days off entirely from practicing handstands. Like I didn't do anything that involved putting pressure on my hands on the ground. So not even like strengthening exercises like pike push-ups or anything like that. I just realized I was at the point where I pushed a little too hard, a little too fast, and my wrists were fatiguing before anything else. Even if I had been able to get into like a balanced position, I would not have been able to hold it because my wrists were just way too fatigued. Hopefully now that my wrists are feeling a little bit better and a little bit stronger, I'll actually be able to hold something today. Let's go find out. This is something super random that I personally found super helpful. Probably not applicable to like literally anyone watching this unless you have this ladder and you're the same height as me. But I started using this little like steps tool that I had to do my L stands off of. For some reason, it was just like the perfect height for me. And so what I started doing was before my handstand practice, I would do just a few like L stands where I would kind of push off just a little bit, balance for a few seconds, and then go back down just to get the feeling of being upside down. It was about halfway through that I started shifting my handstand workout practice routine that I had created. So at first I started following it specifically, then I just completely gave up. And then I was like, okay, there has to be a better way to incorporate this to still use the exercises effectively and build my handstand strength, but not do it all together so that I was fatigued by the time I was practicing my handstands. So what I did is that each day I had like 2 to 3 exercises scheduled. And so what I would do is I would take those exercises and do them at the end of my morning workout, because every morning I've been doing either resistance training or yoga. So after that, I would just take an extra like 5-10 minutes to do a couple extra handstand specific exercises. And then I was also incorporating more of my like upside down practice, where I would do more of the L stands and handstands against the wall, just to get my brain used to being upside down, so that when I went into that position later in the day when I was practicing my actual handstands, I would feel more comfortable and confident with it. And this is kind of the same theory as like priming your body before you do any resistance training. Think of it kind of like glute activation, right? Like if you want to make sure your glutes are optimally firing when you're doing squats or whatever, you usually do a little bit of a glute specific warm up with bands or whatever. With this, I wanted to get that neural connection firing where where my brain understood how to position my body upside down without actually using all of my strength to actually hold the handstand and just get used to that position. So that when I would go into that position later, the pathway had already been firing in my brain earlier that day, and so I could more easily find that kind of balance point. And that's one thing that I felt made a huge difference, so that's another thing that I highly recommend. Well, that was a colossally disappointing handstand practice. Guys, I'm so mad. I wasn't gonna take out the camera today because yesterday I kind of sucked really bad at doing handstands, so I didn't think I was gonna do well today. First handstand, held it for like 8 seconds, but I have no proof. I'm getting so close today. I don't know if you can see a difference, I can feel the difference. Unfortunately, looks like my very first attempt that I didn't film was my best attempt, but I am still feeling much more confident. I feel like if we were to compare today versus day one, you could see a difference in confidence at the very least. Then I went to San Francisco to visit my family, and I got my mom to help me with my handstands, which led to the ultimate breakthrough. It was a lot easier to have another actual human like helping me stabilize my body where it was meant to be in the handstand, so that I could get even more used to that and really strengthen that neural connection and kind of get that kinesthetic awareness of what it felt like to be in a true handstand. And when I was in San Francisco, I made sure to keep up with doing my morning upside down practices, tried doing some stuff against the wall, used my mom for help. Very, very helpful. And then my mom and I came up with this drill that ultimately became the game changer for me. I don't really know why, it just really helped something click. And basically I would put my feet on her shoulders and get my upper body into a straight up and down handstand position, lift one leg up so that I was straight up and down, and then she would slowly like lift my other leg up so that I would be straight up and down with both legs. It took a lot of coordination between the two of us, because obviously if she pushed too fast or too slow, like I would just topple over. Thankfully, my mom and I are like very much on the same wavelength, so it worked really well. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of me performing the drill really well, but hopefully you can kind of tell what we're going for with this video. If I do make like a handstand program tutorial video, I will make sure to go find my mom and film how to actually do that properly, like step by step, so that you guys can grab a friend, roommate, partner, parent, whatever, and practice it with them. And it was the next day, after practicing that drill, that I finally nailed a handstand. A handstand that felt like a true handstand. Until then, every handstand that I had managed to get into kind of felt like a fluke, kind of felt like I was falling over the entire time, not necessarily balancing myself. It had never felt really solid until this handstand. And I actually managed to do this like 2 or 3 times before I was like, okay, mom, please go get your phone to film me. So unfortunately, I don't have the footage of my actual other successful attempts, but you'll just have to take my word for it. So it took me 23 days of consistent, almost daily practice to be able to feel like I was nailing the handstand. Unfortunately, even though I was able to do it, I still wasn't consistent with it. Like, it didn't just suddenly click and then every time I tried to do a handstand, I could do a handstand. But what it did help me do is come up with a few cues in my head for what I needed to think about in order to execute it properly. So the first cue that really helped me, I don't know if it's gonna help any of you, but for me, it was very helpful. It was teapot. Because before this day, every time I would try to fall forward into a handstand, I would like reach my hands up and farther away. And so I would either overkick or underkick because of the angle of my arms. So the teapot cue was meant to just basically Romanian deadlift it, where I just like fall straight forward and put my hands straight down rather than reaching out and like falling forward. And I feel like this is like a teapot pouring. So that's why I call it teapot. The next cue was spot, because I realized that every time I intentionally focused on a spot in between my hands, like about here, if my hands were here on the ground, I had so much better focus and I was able to hold the handstand a lot more consistently. If I forgot to like focus on a spot, there was no chance I was gonna hold it. And then the last cue that I got from this was fall. And now every time I try a handstand, I think fall to myself, because those few times that I held those super solid 8-second handstands, I felt like I just kind of like fell into it. I wasn't kicking hard. I wasn't like putting a ton of effort into the movement. I was just kind of like letting my body tip over and fall into a handstand, which makes 0 sense unless you've felt that exact feeling before, but it was really, really helpful for me. Even though in the days following day 23 where I had my big breakthrough, I didn't hit that same like strength in my handstand again, I still consistently felt stronger and more confident, and I had so much more consistency with my form and with my success. So even though like I wasn't holding all 8-second handstands, I was consistently getting like closer and closer to where I needed to be. I'll tell you, filming myself is so helpful, because with that one time that I got like the longer hold, I went back and looked at it and realized how like skewed my body was, and I don't want to develop that habit. Like I don't want that to end up being my default handstand form. So I'd rather compromise the duration of my handstands in order to build better handstand form. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do consistent handstands on day 30, but I'm feeling a lot more confident about handstands in general. Today was day 30, and let me just say, I am not disappointed by how today went. Almost all of my attempts were not horrible. I actually had some like not too shabby attempts, and then I also had multiple like solid handstands. That felt amazing. I'm not like super solid yet. It's been 30 days and I can't consistently do a handstand for every attempt, but I had a few super solid attempts. I feel like if I give it 1 to 2 more weeks, I'm gonna be even more consistent, even more solid and confident and strong in the handstand. And so I think I'm just gonna do this again for another month and see how well I can do. But with the progress that I've made so far, I am genuinely really happy with it, because handstands have just been something that I've really been wanting to be able to do for so long, but have just always been, I think like my fear has held me back, and I'm no longer afraid. And that is the progress that I made with practicing handstands for almost every single day for 30 days. And honestly, I am super excited about it. No, my handstands aren't perfect yet. No, I can't do a perfect handstand every single time I do a handstand, but I am so much better at it than I was a month ago. I am super proud of how far I've come, and honestly, that's kind of all that matters. But I do want to get even better. I want to get to the point where every time, or at least almost every time, I can get into a handstand and be stable and be confident in it. So I plan on continuing to practice every day, or almost every day, until that happens. So I'll keep you guys up to date in the future with how I'm doing with my handstands, and I'll let you know how long it takes me, how many days it takes me to be able to like master the handstand. I really want to feel like a badass little ninja that can just handstand all over the place. That's just my goal in life. But for now, this is where we're at. So comment down below if you do want me to make my full like handstand program video with all of the warm-ups, exercises, drills, and stretches that I did start to incorporate regularly about halfway through, that I feel like were helpful for me in being able to get at least to this point with my handstands. If any of you guys watching this are handstand masters, I do welcome your feedback. If there's anything that you're like noticing with my form that I could tweak or fix just to make things easier, please let me know. I'd appreciate it. In the meantime, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, because it really does support me and my channel. I really genuinely appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. If you want to see more videos from me all about health and fitness, you can check them out over here. To see future videos from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.